Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Monet and you're watching Life is Monet. So if you watched my September TBR, you would have saw that I pulled a prompt that said I needed to read the first book that I saw on my Instagram feed. And after going to Instagram and strolling, the first book that I saw was actually Bloodmarked, which is book 2 to Legendborn. This book I had no intentions of ever reading. I wasn't really sold just like hearing the plot in general, but then after everyone started reading it, I felt like this book just had a lot of controversial feedback, and there were some people who like really loved it, and then there was others who did not like it at all. And so this one just kind of got put in this category of books that I was not sure if I wanted to read, and so I decided to wait to hear feedback after the release date. And then hearing the feedback, I was still unsure, but the people who disliked it and disliked it a lot, I have similar perspectives on the things or the elements that they didn't like about the book. And so I just decided that the book was not for me and that I wasn't going to read it. I was offered an ARC of this book that I did not take. I was offered a free copy of this book that I did not take. And I thought it was weird that so many of my book friends were trying to mail me their physical copy because they just disliked it that much. And I'm like, this is not a cheap hardcover book. Why does everyone keep trying to give it to me for free? It felt like a setup. It felt like a complete setup, and I decided that I was not going to read it. But thanks to this TBR prompt jar that I have and the prompt that I selected, I have to read Legendborn. I'm not very excited about it, but I have read most of the books on my TBR, and the other books I am unable to really sit and physically read throughout this week because I'm going to be very busy, and the audio for Legendborn just came through on my Libby today. So throughout this week we'll be reading Legendborn, and I'm a little nervous. I really don't know where I'm gonna land on this book because I really did not want to read it, but here we are. So I am having an incredibly chaotic morning. My oldest daughter, Jade, started kindergarten today, and so I've been crying all morning. Please forgive me if my makeup looks crazy, but yeah, so my daughter started kindergarten today, and it's emotional, and I was like so adamant about like packing everything for her that I got all the way to work and realized that I packed my personal bag and my camera bag, which is different from my laptop bag. And so I had to drive all the way home to grab my laptop bag. And today is the first day that I am onboarding a new hire. And yeah, I'm not looking like a good supervisor at this moment. I'm not looking like a good boss because I immediately had to turn around and go back home to get my laptop. So there's that. I have not started the book yet, but I plan to start it throughout today. I have a very busy day. I also have like a Zoom that I need to get on for my classes. I'm doing some training and onboarding. So yesterday when I was on Amazon, I ordered a neon sign and some faux grass to create kind of like this aesthetic faux grass decor wall in my house, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna walk you guys over there so you can see my vision. I'm going to take this plain wall that's like right in front of my office here and my bookcases, this little wall, and we're gonna do like an aesthetically pleasing decor wall, hopefully later when I get home, and that's if my day goes better than it's going right now. So yeah, gotta go, guys. Guys, I meant to check in with you guys earlier, but hectic day. So I am officially like 35% into the book, and it's been a very interesting read so far. I appreciate the effort that the author has put into her world building. I think that in hindsight, I've just read a lot of lazy world building, especially in YA, and so I appreciate the time that she took to build her world and her premise before catapulting us into the story. And I think that so many books, not just YA, but just so many books in general, lean on those caveats that like make you grab the book from the synopsis and the plot and like the selling taglines, and that wasn't done with this book. There was a lot of grace that was taken to tell the story, and I can appreciate that. Another aspect that I am enjoying is the way that our main character is going through grief. I think that it does a lot for her character building, and the things that I don't like about her decision making can also be blamed on her current state of mind and her current emotional state as well. When I consider the trauma and just overall emotional impact that she's going through, I can forgive some of her less intelligent decisions or less calculated decisions. I have a weird reminiscent feeling when reading this book. It reminds me of like the beginning of every supernatural book or TV show that I've seen. Like, something about it gives like Legacies or The Vampire Diaries, how I felt reading Cassie Clare with the Shadowhunter series. It's giving everything that you're used to seeing with those like urban supernatural TV shows and books, where on the surface everything appears to be entirely normal, and then our main character runs into some mysterious male figure and her curiosity just gets the best of her, and then all of a sudden she's like slaying demons or beasts or something like that, and then having to pretend like this entire underworld of supernatural activity is not going on. And I like that. I like seeing that from a BIPOC perspective, because we don't have many stories that tell it from that POV. With that being said, one of the things that I'm not enjoying so much is how incredibly on the nose a lot of the racism and just colonial influences are being woven into the story. Even for a YA, I feel like we're being force-fed things that we could have picked up on our own. I feel like we're being led to things that we could have picked up on our own, and I feel like there were so many things about the book that she could have left to the reader's own interpretation, and she is not doing that. But the blatant racism is really in your face, and I think that I would have enjoyed this story more so far if there was more microaggressions or passive aggressive racist statements. But this is incredibly surface level, blatant, obvious, and the way that our main character is going about dealing with it is as if it's a microaggression, and that is a disconnect, and like it's creating a dissonance for me as a reader, because her response is more like, are they being racist? And it's like, girl, yeah, like that was not a microaggression, that was just straight up aggression. Like there's no reason for you to be questioning this. I also question this one particular line where she was, I guess, expected to really relate to a character that was Venezuelan, as if her experiences with direct racism and neo-colonialism is equivalent to the treatment that this partially Venezuelan person who was passing for majority white was going through. I don't know. I need to go back and kind of like reread that section. So far it's what I expected it to be. I get the hype around it. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I like to come to my own conclusions. I like to infer things, and even when I was a younger reader, that was something I really enjoyed. I don't like being led to the water and being told how to interpret things and what to think of things. I will check back in with you guys when I get like maybe 55 or 60% into the book and let you know what my thoughts are. The romance in this book is taking over the book. Like, moving the romance into the center of this plot, I question. I feel like I would much rather split the time that the author has us spending reading about her lust of this little white boy. I feel like I would want to split that time between like watching her go to classes. The girl ain't been to class in I don't know how freaking long. Watching, like in the beginning of the book when we had to watch her balance her lives with her best friend and her roommate and classes and her dad, and also kind of liking Nick, that was a better time than what we have going on right now, where her relationship with Nick is the center of everything, and all the other like center plots have now moved to a side plot. I'm going back and forth between I'm ready for this big secret reveal that's gonna make her turn against Nick. Like, I feel like we're gonna find out that his great grandpappy used to be a KKK leader or some crap like that. Like, because something about him is just really given my family has a plantation and we used to own a couple slaves. Like, that's what it's given. I'm ready for that to come out. And if it doesn't, like, if it does come out and she's still like, oh, you know, that was before your time, it has nothing to do with you, I'm gonna vomit if she gives this little white boy and his family absolution from slavery and racism. I'm gonna be real mad. I'm gonna be really mad. I also feel like maybe the real love interest is this Cell character instead of Nick. I don't know what his beef is with her, but like, he been going hard. He been going so hard the whole book, and I'm wondering how we're gonna make, I feel like we're gonna switch and she's going to be attracted to Cell, or she's going to like him in some way. But I'm also wondering how the author is going to make that believable, because where I am in the book right now, it's feeling like a jump. It's going to be a hell of a leap for us to get to that point. I don't know. I just feel like so many choices were made that I don't agree with. We're getting muddied. The plot is very much getting muddied. We're in deep, dark waters, and I regret getting on this raft. Initially, this wall was supposed to be something just for me. I just really wanted it, and now that I have it up, I kind of want to use it for my channel aesthetics, and so I might get a sign that says LifeAsMonae and use it channel wise, but we'll see. For now, I'm satisfied with the way that it turned out. We are about 85% into Legendborn right now. The girl still ain't been to class. There's just no way, besides the power of the author's pen, that Bree passed these courses that she was in, because we have been watching her stumble, lie, fail, and embarrass herself on a day-to-day basis while trying to keep this secret society hidden from people around her, and just watching her fail tremendously at that during regular interpersonal communication with normal people. I just know that that had to have translated to the classroom. Unfortunately, we did not get to see that. There were one sentence references to her going to class, but we never got to see her in class, and that's not necessarily pivotal to the story. But my problem with that is that the author gave us a lot of reprieve from the main story that she was telling, and that is her wanting to join the secret society and learning more about these capabilities and skills and tapping into supernatural powers and how it relates to her mother being taken away from her. And we got a lot of reprieve from that, and that reprieve was filled up with her balancing her emotions and just attraction to two male figures. And there were just so many like mundane scenes that the author went out of her way to put into the story to reference particular things, and I feel like one of those mundane scenes that serves really no purpose, that just was a break from the main story, could have been her in class. Even in the beginning, her interactions with her best friend and her family was very heavy on, and I enjoyed that balance between watching her pivot between this underground life and then her everyday normal life. And as we got more into the book, we lost the main story for a little bit, we lost the world building for a little bit, we lost realistic expectations, all to just fill that space with two romances. And that was a choice that I, again, just don't agree with. And yeah, it definitely took down my enjoyment of the book. Remember I mentioned earlier that I wasn't sure how she was going to do this switch between Bree being obsessed with one main character to her liking another one. I felt like that transition was being set up to be entirely clunky and unbelievable, and it went entirely like that. There was just one scene where everything was magical and fireworks and sparkling and yeah, pizzazz, spirit fingers, and then immediately she did a little Sarah J Maas, a little, oh, by the way, he's, you know, toxic a little bit, and look, another great character that you thought was toxic but really isn't. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I wish that they would put that in the ground. I feel like there's so many ways that you can do this transition with a main character starting to care for more than one person without needing to make the other person seem terrible or toxic or problematic in some way. This is a book where one of the things that I really enjoyed from the beginning was how the author took her time to build her world, took her time to tell her story, and I feel like that was a bit of a cheap cop-out. And that's not particular to this book. It's something that I feel like I'm just irritated with, period. Again, you can set up a love triangle or you can set up two love interests without gearing your readers to which one you want them to like. Especially, I feel like especially if you do something like that where you have two potential love interests, I think that it's a bit of a disservice to the readers for you to guide them into if they're going to be team one character or team another character. I feel like it just creates a much more pleasant experience, especially for the readers in the book community, for us to have conversations around which character would be a better love interest for our main character without just making them seem like entirely crappy people. So yeah, that is where I am. This book is just turning out to be precisely what I thought it was going to be, and I knew not to read it because I knew that I wasn't going to have the most amazing time. Is it a bad book? No, but the liberties in which the author took to tell the story does not align with my book preferences. And I knew that. I don't think that this is a book for me. I am not the target audience for this book. So that's just the truth of the matter. I'm gonna finish. I have about an hour and a half left of the audiobook. Between cooking dinner and cleaning up and working on some school work for my classes, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish this book tonight. I don't have high hopes for the ending. I'm just ready for it to be over. Guys, I have finished Legendborn. So in the end, I rated the book 3 out of 5 stars. I do not plan to continue with reading the next book. The last half of the book was a bit bittersweet for me because it really picked up and we got back on track in terms of like the main story. However, I think a lot of people picked up this book and wanted to read this book because of the Arthurian legend that was going to be tied into the story. I'm not a fanatic of that, and it wasn't a selling point for me. But I think that if you did pick up this book for that aspect, you got the payoff and the reward for that towards the end of this book. And so I feel like it was properly marketed in the end, which is rare, but this is one book where everyone did their job. The synopsis matched up with the story, the marketing matched up with the story, and I felt like it just wasn't one that I wanted to read, and ultimately I ended up being right. When we got towards the end of the book, the racist, colonial, slavery history really came front and center. I wouldn't say that it was unexpected. I could see that coming from the beginning of the story. It was woven throughout the entire story. I think that I would have enjoyed the story more if the references for slavery and racism was not hitting the reader over the head for the entire story. I feel like it made it incredibly predictable, even outside of it being an Arthurian legend or a retelling of that. So it wasn't a bad read by any means. I feel very indifferent towards the book, and that is my least favorite feeling to feel when I'm reading a book, is nonchalantness. Like, I either really want to like it or really want to hate it or things like that, but in this one it was just, yeah, it was what it was. If you love this book, then I'm happy for you, and if you were someone that was on the fence about reading it because of some reasons that were similar to me, I would say take my advice and trust your intuition, because you're probably right. Thank you guys for watching my video, and I will see you guys next time.